Hello everyone, welcome to a new English lesson. I am Tatiana Olaru and today we continue our discussion about people who achieved greatness throughout life. Let us see what else we will do at this lesson. So we will learn new words denoting traits, achievements. We will discover a well-known historical personality, a new one. We will answer questions based on the acquired information. We will learn new words with different meanings. And we will practice the grammar rules in sentences. So if you remember, at the previous lesson we talked about traits that define a personality. We also talked about when and how a national personality gets worldwide recognition. So, indeed, a national personality gets fame, glory, and is an outstanding representative of a country. Yes, fame, synonym with glory. At the previous lesson, we also talked about Oliver Cromwell, who was a fearless, a skillful, and outstanding commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief is the officer who commands all the armed forces of a country. Okay, so he recruited, if you remember, he recruited the best soldiers for his army who helped him defeat whole armies, gained many victories. He wounded his enemies and sentenced them to death. Today, we will discover a new historical personality who enjoyed love and devotion from the man who served under him, but who was fired from a musket ball. In Romanian it is glonte de flintă, and in this way piercing or penetrating one of his lungs. So lungs, either of the two organs in the chest that one person uses for breathing. In Romanian is plămâni. So in the text I come up with today, you will find much more information about this new personality. But before that, let us look at other words that might be unknown for you and useful in the process of text comprehension. So the next word is deck. So this is the top outside floor of a ship or boat. In Romanian is punte. Ought to, used to say what is the right thing to do. Flagship, this is the main ship in a fleet of ships in the navy. In Romanian is navă amiral. And the last word is crypt, an underground chamber or vault used as burial place. So these are the words that will be useful in this lesson, and before going to the text about the personality, we will practice this vocabulary and we will form different parts of speech from the following words. From the word devotion, fame, to pierce, fear, to wound, skillful, to fire, and commander. So, take your time and find the right words. If you are ready, let us check. Devotion, devoted. Skillful, skillfully. To wound, it's also wound. To pierce, pierced. Fame, famous. Fear, fearless. To fire, fireworks, but there are also other words, firefighter, for example, and commander, commandery. Okay, now let us discover together the personality. and this personality is Horatio Nelson. Let's read together. Nelson was a skillful and fearless commander, enjoying great love and devotion from the men who served under him. They respected Nelson so much that they were ready to die for him. He used to take calculated risks and never failed. Horatio Nelson fought for England for the last time in 1805 as Commander-in-Chief of the British naval forces confronting France and Spain at Cape Trafalgar, the most southwesterly point of Spain. Under Nelson's indication, the well-known sign, "England expects that every man ought to do his duty," was put up on the flagship. Nelson, standing on the deck of the ship, at a moment a musket ball fired from a French ship struck him and pierced one of his lungs. He was mortally wounded and died a few hours later. Before he died, he realized his naval forces had won a great victory, and that brought him fame. In his memory, a tall column with Nelson's statue on its top stands in Trafalgar Square in London. Nelson was buried in the crypt of St. Paul's Cathedral. Now, I invite you to answer some of my questions. Let's begin. Where did Nelson's last battle take place? Let's check in the text. Horatio Nelson fought for England for the last time in 1805 as Commander-in-Chief of the British Naval Forces confronting France and Spain at Cape Trafalgar, the most southwesterly point of Spain. What did the soldiers respect Nelson for? Nelson was a skillful and fearless commander. He used to take calculated risks and never failed. That is why they respected Nelson so much and they were ready to die for him. Next question. Where is Cape Trafalgar? If we look in the text, we will find that Cape Trafalgar is the most southwesterly point of Spain. So it is in Spain. Next question. What Nelson's well-known words were written on the flagship? England expects that every man ought to do his duty. Okay, and the last question for you is, where can people see his monument? In his memory, a tall column with Nelson's statue on its top stands in Trafalgar Square in London. Okay, so now we will continue with polysemy. And these are words that have different meanings. Okay, let's see 3 examples. To fire. To fire has 3 different meanings. To fire a gun or to shoot. To fire questions or to ask many questions quickly. And to fire an employer, to dismiss. Power has much more meanings than fire. Physical power, strength, power of speech, capacity, legal power or the right to do something, Western powers, dominant states, and nuclear power, energy. The word ball has 4 meanings. Round object used in games, like for example in football. Anything having a round shape, the rounded part of the foot where toes join it, and ball is also a large formal event at which people dance. Okay, so it may be difficult to know all the meanings, but it takes time and it needs practice. Let's try to practice these words with different or diverse meanings in an exercise. So we have to insert the appropriate words to fire, power, or ball in these 6 sentences. Let us read them. So the Vienna Opera is an annual Austrian society event which takes place in the building of the Vienna State Opera. Okay, the president of the country has them to name the ambassadors. Because of the world economic decline, lots of employees are in many countries. In ancient times, people didn't know the earth has the shape of a ball, of something round. The president of the country has them power, of course, to name the ambassadors. After her illness, she lost them power to talk, meaning she lost the capacity to walk. Because of the world economic decline, lots of employees are fired in many countries, meaning they are dismissed. Little children always fire questions at their parents, meaning that they ask too many questions quickly. Okay, so now to sum up, let us see what we have managed to do today. So we have learned new words denoting traits, achievements. We have discovered a well-known historical personality, Horatio Nelson. We have answered questions based on the acquired information. We have learned new words with different meanings, like, for example, ball, fire, power. We have also practiced these grammar rules, these words, in sentences. Hope this information was helpful to you. See you next time.